our Sparks club. I get to do the game time with them. It's my favorite part of the night. I also work in TNT and with the other clubs as well. But I have the flexibility to run around and do a bunch of different clubs, and I like that, the ages. So we're Sparks-a-Rama is to win the girls, boys, moms, and dads, and family members to the Lord. All our big events, and whether you're doing the Grand Prix or your year-end, whatever, there's all the time to present the gospel. So when we're doing the Sparks-a-Rama, we're going to present the gospel. We want everything to run really smoothly and really well, professionally. So when the gospel is presented, there's nothing like, well, we want it to be like, this is a really class place, we're really doing it well. So that's why we are kind of sticklers on a lot of how we do all this. We want it to be very, very, very well done. So when I was in club, you had to do 10 sections in order to go to what we call the Olympics then. So when I was doing my book, how many sections did I do? 10. So I go to games. That was why I did it. It motivates the kids, I went too fast, in their participation in Awana. So and it helps. And when I found out that to go to summer camp, you had to finish your whole book, I finished my whole book. So that's how it works. Anyway, we want to start on time, run efficiently, and run well. And they're going to have a sense that they're at a professionally well-run event. And then they'll possibly listen to the gospel a little more. So that's why we do it as well as we do, and why we do it this way. We want to honor God is what we're doing with the gospel presentation, not so much with winning, but with honoring God with the gospel. Bodily exercise is a good thing while we're here on earth, but what's really important is being godliness and looking toward that what's yet to come. That's what's going to be more important with all this. Well, I always like to remind our people it's going to cost you to get in. The worst thing that can happen is for Grandma and Grandpa to come and I have to pay to get in, or Mom and Dad. You know, I didn't know. Most people today know, but let them know that there's going to be $3 per person. Your team members, your coaches, anybody under kindergarten is going to be free. Pastors are free and their spouses, so encourage them to come. It's the best time for a pastor to be able to spend quality time with the people in their church. You know, you see them for a very short time on Sunday, but you can sit down and learn a little bit more about them at an event like this. We try our best to make sure that big churches aren't put on circles with little churches. So they're ranked according to the placement in the previous year. So if you think it's not fair, we try to do our very best to make it fair. Each church has to give 2 volunteers to the staff. We really want one to be a line judge or usher, and they have to check in at the volunteer table. It takes a lot of people to run this.
And
we could use more line judges.
Yes, you could use more line judges. And one thing too is that there's a difference between a helper and a volunteer. A helper is someone who shows up 4 minutes before the event and said, "Hi, I'd like to help." Or who said, "I can only help in the gym." A volunteer is someone who comes before their child's event or before the things and can work anywhere. Because we do have people who need to patrol the hallways because we need to keep kids from setting the place on fire. That's on video, I should have said that.
Volunteers have signed up in advance and we know that they're showing up so that we can assign them where we need them.
Do you have a email address to where volunteers can?
On the registration forms, they're identified on that, and we don't send out all the notices to all of the coaches. That we go to the coaches, they go to them. They get a separate group. Something I forgot to mention before too is that we are sending the emails to the coordinator and the coaches because we found out that the coaches weren't getting the information. So that when you send in the registration form, please include a current email address for the things and CC them in the transmission so that I don't have to try to call back and not get an answer for getting a correct email address. Because some people I can't read the handwriting. Some people just, like we had one person who said, "I never got any emails." "Oh, is this yours?" "I haven't used that email address in 5 years." "Sorry, we sent you 14 email and we didn't realize that
the email you gave us was a bad email."
It was a bad email because it didn't bounce. And at that point, that was, they were saying, "Why did I know?" "Well, you didn't come to the training, didn't give an email, your coaches didn't pass on to you, we tried.
How old do the volunteers have to be?
For
16 probably.
yes, we aim for 16. If they're under 16, they can do a scoreboard.
Okay.
So that, I mean, we if you have a kid who's
Junior
12,
high
13,
would be probably the minimum.
and he was, the Kirsten was currently running off to get me an SD card that I forgot to get. He and his brother have been, well, I still remember when he was on your circle.
Oh.
And he was 14 and a coach. He had an 18-year-old coach with him. And your comment was, okay, I want to see everybody's driver's license. and Alex's comment back was, yeah, my fake license is out in the car. Which was a good answer, I thought. But yeah, so that we do have, if it is a coach, we want to have one person at least 18. They can be underage. At that point, as long as they're older than the clubber, they can be helping out on for Sparkies. Sorry about that.
That's fine. So the volunteers do need to check in at the volunteer table. If you answer yes to any question, and I don't know all the questions are, but if you've robbed a bank or chained your kid to their beds or done things like that or blown up something, you will be disqualified from serving.
Oh, man.
That counts you out. You know, we laugh about it.
Was it a big explosion only, or can a small one be okay?
We laugh about these things, but
It
if
was
you
a
have
black cat.
any history of child abuse, you're not going to get to serve. And if it's my kids out there, my grandkids, I don't want you near them. So that's we take it very seriously. So if you've got any history of that, or if you know the person does, they can't serve. Even if they've got a great heart, whatever, they can't serve with us. They can't be around the kids.
And this form is located.
We'll be
the
emailing it to you.
registration- Okay, emailing.
And they'll also have copies of registration. It's better to fill it out before. However, inevitably, everybody comes up and goes, oh, yeah, was I supposed to fill this out? Yes, is the answer.
So the Sparks-a-Rama
Real
event.
quick, if you have somebody that might be interested in being a line judge, they didn't attend the meeting previous to this, just let Dave know.
Yeah.
Respond to the email, say, hey, I got somebody, we'll make some arrangements to get them trained.
If
as
they've
well.
been around Awana, they probably know the rules. We can go through
Right.
that with them.
Right.
So the Sparks-a-Rama event is at Westminster Christian. It's basically near the corner of Randall and West Highland. It's over just a little bit.
Right near 20.
Yeah,
just
27
north of
West Highland.
Lake
27 West Highland is in Elgin. So it's pretty easy to get to if you're coming down 90. It'd be a couple miles south of 90, about a mile north of Route 20,
Yeah,
and just off of Randall. And
yeah, just west
we've been
of
using that for a
Randall.
while. It's going to be at noon and on March 10th. And I did update all the dates.
All right.
Just for Jay. So the teams are, there's no Division I, but we have the Division II, which are the co-ed teams, 10, 12 players. At least, you have to have at least 3 girls and at least 3 boys. So if you're high on one or, what's that?
Oh, Division 4. Just,
Oh.
yeah, go back. With something new this year, we've developed a Division 4 for the smaller churches or those churches that are having a hard time getting a 10 to 12. We have Division 4, which is going to be 5 to 6 clubbers. So you
For
do
Sparks?
fewer 5 to 6
Okay.
For
First
Sparks.
for Sparks,
For
yeah,
all levels of competition.
for all levels of competition. So let's say you do have enough to do 17, you could do a Division 4 team also. So keep that in mind. So if you happen to have a lot of kids that are
You'll get all your
interested,
kids out to play.
right? So you can compete that way as well. Any questions on Division 4? The only difference is you probably won't do as many heats of the thing. So maybe one heat of the safari and stuff like that.
Division
It could be
4 is-
co-ed too, of course. It's Sparks. You have to have at least one girl and at least one boy,
Okay.
minimally.
And that goes for high school as well?
Yeah, all the way up through high school, we're doing that. We have a lot of competition with soccer in the fall, so that's part of it. as we mentioned, teams will be matched with teams of similar performance from the previous years. And you may enter as many teams as you would like. So like we mentioned, you can have a Division II and a Division IV team if you have enough kids to do that. Only 2 coaches are allowed per team. You're required to stay behind the lines at all times. Of course, no spectators allowed inside the roped-off area. With Sparkies, we're a little more lax with this being because we need your help to keep the kids in line and get lined up. So, but we also, as line judges and circle directors, we try to help you as well because we know how Sparkies are. Those that are not participating must stay behind the team color line. A contested call must be done through the chain of command with a proper spirit, which honors the Lord. So if you, and also do it as soon as possible, because once we go to the next event, we forgot what happened in the last event. It's amazing, but it's true, right, Warren? We'll forget.
What's that?
We don't.
Who are you?
Not because of age either. It's just the way it works because we're focused on what's going to happen in the next event. And because a lot of times we won't even know who took first place the previous event once we start on the next event. But we do have a chain of command. You have your clubbers will, if they run it, which doesn't happen too much in Sparks, although occasionally you get a Sparky that'll question something. But they should go to their coach, who goes to the line judge, who then goes to the circle director. And if it gets past the circle director, that'll be Dave, the event coordinator, who will make the final determination. And we ask that you respect our decision, because generally what will happen is the line judges and the circle director will get together. If there's a question, we'll discuss it and come up with an answer. And it usually doesn't have to get to that guy. Each team is awarded 2 honor points for good sportsmanship for each event. And whistles will be used to start the events. It's an electronic whistle. Only those children who meet the age requirements, which are in the handbooks, the past 10 sections, and you must have that parental consent form to participate. So make sure you have that. Try and get those done as early as possible in when you start your practices and everything.
So the Babylon Bee story about a 10-year-old Sparky doesn't happen.
Dress code, all participants are to wear sneakers or tennis shoes, nothing that'll mark up the floor. Modest clothing as well. Clothing requirements will be checked. Circle directors will make the final decision whether clubber participates. I like to use what Warren usually says, if you have to ask us, is this okay, then it's probably not okay. So if you're in doubt, then you have to ask, it's probably not okay. So be sure of that.
The other line I like, if you bend over and you look like a plumber, not good.
Coaches are also required to make sure they meet the dress code requirements. We want to set the example and dress modestly, of course. And Sparky Crawl, knee pads must be the soft kind, not to damage the gym floor that we have there.